So what I really wanted to talk to you about today was weed management during forage establishment. And we're actually standing in a field that was planted at the end of July of Miss Levy Bermuda grass. So now you see what it looks like out in the field that was planted this summer. So when we talk about weed control during forage establishment, there's usually one weed that we fight the most. Does anybody know what it is? And it's not smutgrass this time. Nutsedge. That's right. So usually it's nutsedge, and that's normally our number one weed problem during establishment. And in Bermuda grass, stargrass, normally the number one recommended answer is Weed Master at 7 to 10 days after planting. That will get the nutsedge fairly well and take care of also some small seeded broadleaf weeds as well. If you miss that window, normally you end up with a bunch of nutsedge, and until about 10 years ago, you really didn't have much of an option. About 10 years ago, Monsanto came and started asking about outrider. Can we use that in warm season grasses like Bermuda grass, stargrass, limpo grass? And we started some experiments to do that. And we found that the rates that they wanted to look at were very effective on nutsedge, almost all the nutsedge species, and were very safe on our forage grasses. The only one that it's not safe at during planting is Bahia grass. Okay, it will completely kill Bahia grass at planting. However, once the Bahia grass is established, the outrider will be fine on Bahia. Okay, so make a long story not so long, outriders used to be owned by Valent. Valent sold it to Monsanto. Monsanto's the ones that worked with us to get supplemental labels for the state of Florida. And then Monsanto sold it back to Valent, but in the meantime, they let the supplemental labels lapse. So, I'm still waiting on new labels to be produced, but this has been some work that we've been working with Valent, looking at different application timings with outrider after planting Bermuda grass. So what we have is 2 rates, 1 ounce and 2 ounces per acre, and they were applied at 0, 7, 15, or 30 days after planting. Alright, so when we first had this labeled several years ago, the recommendation was 28 days after planting was the earliest you could apply outrider. Alright. Valent wanted to look at it a little bit differently and see if we could go a little bit earlier and not have any safety concerns. So that's what we're doing. Our untreated check is at the very end, and you really can't see anything because all the nutsedge has already died. Alright. But there is dead nutsedge underneath there, and the Bermuda grass stand is not as good. The next plot was sprayed at the day of planting. The plot immediately to my right was sprayed 7 days after planting. And then to my left, we have 15 and 30 days. Alright, so what you should be seeing is a lot of brown seed heads to my left. Does everybody see that? Okay. To my right, especially at the 0 day after planting application, you should not see as many brown seed heads. Does anybody know what those brown seed heads were? Probably not. It's one of the crabgrass species. So this is one of the first times that I've been able to see outrider work as a pre-emergence for crabgrass control in Bermuda grass. And I thought that was pretty neat. So it's a different observation that we've never picked up before. But we see some weird things with some of these chemistries when they are applied onto bare ground. So I've also seen in the past, though, that outrider will pick up vasi grass that is germinating. Established vasi grass it will not touch. But it makes sense, right? Because Bahia grass isn't tolerant at the seedling stage, so why would vasa grass be? They're both in the same genus. Okay. Any questions about Outrider? Okay, so the question's about the label rate, because I have 1 ounce here and 2 ounces down there. You can actually go up to 2.66 ounces, I believe. My recommendation is normally 1 ounce per acre, because I don't think you get any extra out of the extra third of an ounce. So the label will say 1 1/3 ounces, but I'm showing an ounce is just as effective. And at 16 bucks an ounce, we probably don't want to spend much more, right? Okay, so your question, let me make sure I got it right. Have I ever mixed Outrider with glyphosate and sprayed it onto Bermuda to get rid of smut grass? Okay. No, I have not. I told you that, I'm waiting on labels from Valent at this point. So right now, this really is not a legal recommendation I can make, but I think it's coming. So that's why I wanted to show that to you today, because I think by next year we're going to have those labels. So this is going to be, again, another legal option that we can use during the establishment of Bermuda grass. Okay. As you go out, as we're slowly driving out, it'll be on your left. There's 5 other treatments that I have down there that are the longer strips than what I have right here, because these are only 20 by 20 plots. Those are 20 by 50, I believe, down there. So what we're doing there is comparing Grazenext, Weedmaster, which is Rifle D in this study, Duracor, 2 rates of Duracor, and I'll explain that one in a second. And then the last one is Outrider, so you can see a side-by-side comparison of those 5 treatments. So, like I said previously, Weedmaster has kind of always been the standard that we had used at 7 to 10 days after planting. But I've also often wondered what Grazenext and some of these other products could bring us as well. So I've played with Grazenext in the past, and I'm pretty comfortable with that. Within that 7 to 10 day window after planting on Bermuda grass and stargrass. The other products, like Outrider, I'm also I feel like we're pretty safe with that. The Duracor, this is something that's coming that's new. It actually has a new active ingredient in it called fluoroperoxyfen benzyl. See, I say that quick 10 times, right? So that is a new active that is coming to the state of Florida. Duracor contains a combination of that plus aminopyrrolide, so that plus milestone. Don't know a lot about this chemistry yet. I've had 2 trials out this summer. Some interesting things happened when we used MSO, methylated seed oil, as a surfactant instead of non-ionic surfactant. We tend to get better kill, especially even of dog fennel. But I do believe we're still going to have to add something to Duracor to pick up bigger dog fennel. I think that's still going to be the standard action. Just like with Grazenext, we have to add something to Grazenext to pick up big dog fennel. It'll be the same with Duracor. I think the neatest thing I saw with Duracor this year was with blackberry. And like I said, this is only one observation, so don't take this home to be the honest truth, okay? In these plots that were sprayed in April, where we sprayed Grazenext and Pasture Guard together at 24 and 8 ounces, and then we have the Duracor rates. We had a couple different of those with or without Pasture Guard. When we went and looked at the Grazenext Pasture Guard treatments in August, we saw a lot of regrowth on briars from the root system. But the original canes or briars that we sprayed were dead. Okay, so it's kind of typical. Remedy, Pasture Guard, Grazenext. When we spray those products, we tend to kill the canes that are there, but we tend to get regrowth from the root system. That's why it takes us a few years to get rid of the blackberry. With the Duracor, like I said, this is very early. This has been 4 months after, or not even quite 4 months after the application. The canes that we had sprayed were still there. They weren't growing. Some of the leaves have turned brown, some of the canes have turned brown, but some of the canes were still green. But there was nothing coming back from the root system. So we need to follow those plots a little bit longer and see if those original canes that we sprayed are going to go down or if they're going to somehow come out of it. But that was a neat observation that we had in the field with Duracor. So that's something to be watching out for as well. Like I said, I don't have a lot of experience with that one yet, but we continue to work with it and continue to have fun spraying and trying to kill weeds. Okay. Any questions? How would I get it done at $20 an acre per year for smut grass control? Go to the casino, dude. You'd have better luck. About the cheapest I can get you right now is probably around $24, maybe $26. Yeah. Okay. That's with hexazinone. Okay. Any other questions? Is there something to control the crabgrass that's in the plot in front of me right now? It's kind of difficult. I can use pretty low rates of glyphosate, 8 to 12 ounces, and take it out. Stunt the Bermuda grass a little bit, but you got rid of the crabgrass. So win one, you lose one. Duracor is not available now. I believe sometime next year. Haley, do you have an update? State labeled by December at the latest. But when will product be here?
We'll be ready. As soon as we have state labels, we'll have product waiting ready to go.
Okay. So we'll have product as soon as the state label's approved, which they're hoping is December.
Well, for sure by our next full spring.
But for sure by next year. By the time we're ready to spray.
By the time we're spraying it, we'll have it.
All right. I'm going to selectively answer your question. Okay? Okay, so you're asking if prowl at planting would be helpful, right? Okay, so prowl would take care of the crabgrass. However, what prowl's going to do to the Bermuda is the stolon is going to crawl across the ground and it will never root. It'll never take root. Just because that chemistry inhibits root formation, it won't be able to grow into the ground and peg. So you'll actually end up with a runner that ends up dying.